Hello friends, this is Adam with MovieGuy365, and today I'm going to review the latest slasher film to hit our theaters. That is Hellfest. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like button, subscribe, hit the bell notifications. I put out videos daily. Share with your friends. I greatly appreciate any help you can give me. So I had the opportunity to check out Hellfest yesterday. Good old-fashioned slasher. It's refreshing. And when I say refreshing, it is something I had little to no expectations going in. In fact, I wasn't even really aware of this movie. I think I'd heard about it like a year ago or something, and I just kind of forgot about it, and then saw it as a preview a couple weeks or about a month ago. And I had nothing really to go for. No, that's one of the best things you can do when you walk into a movie is no expectations. You know, they can either be too high or they can be too low. And I'm going to say, you ever have that feeling when you see something or touch something or hold something and you realize you haven't had that in a long time, and it brings back all these warm memories, and you didn't realize you missed it until it was like right in front of you. That's kind of how I feel about Hellfest. It's a good slasher film, and you know, you have the things like the one I can bring recently to mind would be Happy Death Day, which in itself is it's a slasher film, but because it's PG-13, it kind of misses a lot. There's a lot of the teeth is missing out of that movie. It boggles my mind why they make those decisions. You know, a slasher film should never be PG-13. You know, I'm old school, like 80s and, 70s and 90s, and we've lost that a bit, when it comes to this type of movie. You know, of course you have your Freddys and your Jasons and that sort of thing, and it seems like the movies they make today are trying to get that PG-13 audience, and of course the PG-13 is always going to yield bigger numbers. But when it started happening to slasher films, it lost something, and while Happy Death Day is an okay movie for what it is, sometimes you just need something raw and gritty for, to satisfy that palate. And I'm happy to say that Hellfest is I'm not going to say it's original, because you have movies like Funhouse that have done something like this before. But it's good. It's a good update to a older idea. And now I'm going to say, I'm really going to try to avoid spoilers the best I can. So I'll do my best on that. But you have a lot of things that happen in these type of movies that can annoy you, and stupid characters being one of them. Now, I don't feel like there are necessarily a lot of stupidness going around with our basically we have a main cast of six friends. It starts out with the three girlfriends, and then of course their significant others tag along. And one of the things that irritate me, and I'm sure irritate you, in these type of movies are stupid decisions. And believe it or not, largely we don't get stupid decisions in this movie, or decisions that make sense or don't make sense. There's one point near the climax, I'll say it that was a stupid decision, and then 2 minutes later another one. So it kind of pulled me out slightly. It started relying a little too much on the old trope of stupidness. But overall, I will say it was saved to a degree by a interesting ending. The ending it's good. I like that the film, for the most part, doesn't hand feed you everything. It doesn't feel the need to have to, hold your hand and walk you through every single plot point. And I enjoy that. I enjoy the ambiguity of certain things. and without spoiling too much, the ending I felt was good. Does it necessarily set up a sequel? Indirectly. It isn't a thing where I feel like if they do a sequel, it's going to cheapen the first one. It's not like a lot of movies today where they're just big advertise. The whole movie's a big advertisement for a sequel. It's not like that. In fact, I like the premise enough that you could, and they even kind of tease this at the beginning, that you could conceivably make these movies for a while. And I think the setting. Let's talk about that setting for a minute. That the setting in itself is unique. So if you're a Halloween fan or if you're a horror fan and if you ever had a chance to go to Halloween Horror Nights or the Busch Gardens Halloween event or something along those lines where they have like a section of time through September and October where you go and there's houses and there's these scare zones and that kind of thing. And those are a good time. Now, even up where I live, there is a small amusement park that does this, and I think they do it very effectively. But the premise of this is like, imagine that as a traveling thing. So they go from town to town to town, and I will say, while the setting is amazing and it's a place I very much want to visit. You can't help but thinking how impractical it would actually be, because the sheer size and complexity, it's so massive that like practically it could not exist, because you have things like they connect one area to a touch area where the scare actors can touch you, but the size of this thing is just not. I believe it or not, that was the thing that stuck out as the most unrealistic aspect of the movie. And while it's awesome, it's kind of like you wish something like this could exist, but in real life it couldn't, because it's almost, imagine like a traveling circus, but about the size of almost like a football field or bigger. And these people supposedly travel from town to town, like. And plus, you have things like bridges and that kind of thing. It's just like, even Disney like would have, trouble making something like this work. But anyway, it's a fun setting, and I would love to see that in real life. I have been at Halloween events at parks, and it's so good. It's a good setting. Now, as far as the characters go, there wasn't anybody that stood out as like annoying. That's the other thing. Like you have somebody who's kind of obnoxious, but they don't really get to that annoying part. And for the most part, they're not 2D paper cuts of just characters. There's slight layer of complexity, especially to maybe about 3 of them, and then there's like 1 or 2 that are kind of, they're there, you know them, you even know their name, but like you don't know them beyond that. And for a movie like this, it's not too bad. But I like how it kind of goes, not unexpectedly, but it's almost like it has a realistic vibe to it, in the sense that when you have a slasher movie, it's like, okay, you take a group of 6 and this slasher guy will systematically take them out in very creative ways. Now, I like that they attempt that, but then I'm really going to try not to spoil it, but then it doesn't always go according to the killer's plan. I like that. It's not like when you have some of these movies where the person is killed by like a paperclip or something, and the head comes clean right off. It's not like that, and I really appreciate that. Like they try something, this killer tries something, it doesn't quite work, and then I like that. I like that there is that level. And aside from the two major stupid decisions, they all happen in the climax, but I think the ending saves it. And it actually made it very interesting. That was an interesting choice. I liked it, and you know, it's a fun movie. It's refreshing, as I said earlier, to see something. You know, I've had a bad last couple, maybe month or so at the cinemas overall. You know, The Nun was massively disappointing, and then you have you know, other movies that have just not lived up to it. I like a good old fashioned slasher flick, and it was very cathartic actually to see that there are still movies like that being made. I hope it does okay numbers. I have a feeling it'll be one of those where it does great on disc or streaming, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I would highly recommend going to see this. If you can go see this in the theater, I was fortunate enough to be able to see it in the theater. There was only like 2 other people in it, and they were far enough away that I felt like I was alone. Now there are typical jump scares, but I didn't feel like that's another thing. When a movie has to rely on jump scares too much, it's a bad movie. There's only even though it's a slasher film and by nature it invites a jump scare, they only pull it a couple times, and I feel that it was an appropriate amount. In fact, I would have been very worried if there wasn't a 1 or 2 in the movie. And I felt the director had good restraint in that aspect. So for that, I appreciate it. But yeah, Hellfest, I highly recommend it. Not only is it a good horror film, good rated R horror film, but you also have that Halloween aspect to the story, which I can tell right now, like I'll probably own it and go back to it on a yearly basis around this time of year. And I appreciate that. You know, typically a horror film I like to watch during Halloween, but this is like, it has the holiday with it. So yeah, it was really good. I highly recommend going to check it out. So yeah, Hellfest, excellent. If you like the channel, please hit like and subscribe, share with your friends, hit that bell notification. I put out videos daily. And until next time, this is Adam with MovieGuy365. I will see you at the movies.